Hello, so we are going to start by formatting in Excel and in Google Sheets. I'm going to do a video on Google Sheets and then do another one for Excel. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible so that this video doesn't run on for too long. So to create a Google Sheets, go to google.com, and once you do that, you find this dots here, and that takes you to Google Apps, and then you click on it, and then you see Sheets. You click on that, and then you generally want to go with blank because that's where you are starting. I generally start by naming my sheets immediately so that should anything happen, maybe I go out of it, I don't start looking at it again. So to name your sheet is you click on this little bar here. It will highlight everything, and let's just say I will name my sheet this is what I'm naming my sheet. You put the enter button, click enter, and everything is saved here. So you might be familiar with these bars. They're very similar to what you will see in Excel or in Word. You see file, you have edit, you have view, insert, format, data, tools, extension, help. So we are going to use some of these tabs. We're going to use format for an example. We are also going to use insert. We're not so much going to use view, not so much about, we're going to use some of edits. We're not really going to use our file, but this is the very basic. So I'm going to start by explaining to you guys how Excel works. So Excel, the very basic thing is you need a cell. Whether it's Excel, whether it's Google Sheets, everything starts with a cell, and your cells are numbered or they are named. So this first cell here is A1. You can see where it says A1 here is A1 cell, and that is because it is column A, row 1. So that is why it's A1. So if I put the cell here, it becomes B2 because it's column B, row 2. And if I do this, put this here, it becomes column D, row 5. So you can see it's usually highlighted. It tells you very quickly which cell that you are in. Now you can select more than one cell and you will see how it shows. So let's say I'm selecting all of this cell which is A1 to A6. As you can see here, it tells you A1 column A6. This is to tell you that all the cells between A1 and A6 have been selected for this exercise. And if I wanted to select more than one column, I can do the same thing, and this tells you that you started by A1, as you can see, to H7. So it's kind of telling us that all the cells between A1 and H7 are all selected. So that's a very basic function. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the use of cells. Sheets. This is applies to both Google Sheets and to Excel. So you see the sheets here. You can rename your sheets by double clicking on it, and then that highlights it, and then you can change that. So let's say I call this format 1. I call it format 1, and let's say I want more sheets for this, depending on how I want to organize my information. I can click on this, the plus sign here, and it creates another sheet for me, and double click it, change the name to format 2. Another way to create a sheet is to go into insert, and you see here it says sheets, and you can insert it. You can also use a shortcut shift F11, but this is only for those who use a Mac, because I'm using a Mac. windows have a different function. So you could just stick to going to click to insert and then using sheets, and that creates a third sheet, and that will be format 3. So that is how to create it. Now you can move your sheets around. Let's say I want format 3 to come before everyone. All I just need to do is to drag it along and to bring it here. And let's say I want format 1 to be the very last. I can also just drag that along. If I wanted to, let's say I have the information in format 2, the sheet format 2 that I want to replicate, all I have to do is right click on it, and I can choose duplicate, and it duplicates it, and it says copy of format 2. So you just create another copy of it. And if I wanted to delete everything, I would right click that, delete, wants me, and I say that's fine, you can go ahead and delete that. Also delete. You can do that. Another thing you could do is to copy to, let's say you want to move your sheet, all the information in one of your sheets to a different Excel file. You can do that through copy to. You can rename your sheets. You want to change the name. Let's use that. It just says the same thing, and let's just turn it into format 1, enter, and they renames it. You can also protect your sheets. When you protect your sheets, you may decide what you want, who you want to be able to get it, or how, what sort of conditions that it requires. So let's say set permission, and I decide that the only person I want to be able to have access to this sheet is myself. So once I put it as only me, anybody else will not be able to see that. As you can see, it is protected here. Nothing can happen. Anybody else who is not me would not be able to open the sheet. Another thing that I could do is to you can click on this tiny arrow here, and I decide in addition to protecting it, I want to hide it. So when I hide it, anybody who is not me will not see that sheet. That sheet still very much exists. It's just not going to be open to anybody else to see it. So they don't get to see it. What that is. Let's say control I did control Z to undo it, and it came back. So that's a very, very short form of explaining what those are. So in case you're trying to figure out which of the sheets you are, you can click on this, and it shows you which sheets that you are in. I want to delete this because I just need one sheet. I don't need all the rest of them. So that is that for very, very basic information about Google Sheets. So I want to perform a couple of functions or formatting for this sheet, in this sheet. So I want to create a table. As you can see, Excel or Google Sheets are just basically pretty very good with table creation. So, and I want to create a table, and I want to create a table that has five rows and 3 columns. So which means I want to start with column A, and that's column A to column C, and I'll just select everything that I need, and then I go to the border, and I click the border, and I tell it put everything, put a line on everything, so that I know that it has everything on that. So there are a couple of things that I could do with this. I have my sheet. I want to kind of bedazzle it a little bit. I don't want this very basic look of it. Something that I could do is I could go to borders, and I can change the color of the border. So I don't want it to be very plain black. I say I want it to be a pink, and it shows off as my pink. oh sorry, I have to do that again. So I've selected pink. I have to click on this again so that it shows off as that pink that I wanted. But let's say I don't want all of them to be pink. I just want a couple of the cells to be pink. I could just go back here and change to blue, and go back here and do that, and I have my blue. So now let's say I want to change the color, not the color of the borders, but the colors of the cells itself. So let's say the cells that are with the pink border, I want them all to have a light pink color. So I'm going to go to the border, or sorry, I have to go in here that says fill color. You can see, so you can see it says fill color. First of all, you have to highlight the cells that you want it to do that to, and you click fill color, and I want something a bit light pink. So I have changed that color, and I say I also want the light pink, light blue for the ones with blue borders, and I have that. That's a bit small blue than I wanted. I just wanted a bit more paler. So I have my two my cells. But let's say I want this to be I want to kind of make it bigger. Let's say the information that I need is too small for it to enter here. I can increase the width and the height of it. The ways to go about it is you either go here in the A, between A and B. I want to make A wider, so all I have to do is just to stretch it, and I want to make the row 1 to be broader, and I just have to stretch that down as well. So I did that for just A1. I just wanted to do that for A1. If I want to do it for the entire row 1, all I have to do is to copy. Sorry, if I wanted to do that for all the columns, all I have to do is to select that and keep on, like you could see, once I change that, everything changes. Once I do that, everything changes. So this is another way of doing that. Now let's say I want to adjust the heights of all the rows. The same thing, I just drag it and all the colors will change. And I want to change this color and make it something a bit grayer, and that just sticks to it. Another thing you could do with your cells is you can decide you don't want any borders to have any color at all. So you can select all the cells that you want. You go right back in here and you select see, no border. So here all your borders will go. There are no lines anymore, except for the lines that come with the sheets. There are no lines anymore. You could also do a couple of other things with that. You can decide you only want the top to have a border, and it's just going to be the top one. You're not seeing that because it's just kind of, let me use this to show you better than that one. So you only want the top. You can see the only the top has a line, and let's say I only want a bottom for it, and that's what that does as well. And let's say I want it to be by the side. I want this by the side. You can see creates a line on the side, and this is the left hand side, and I want this to be on the right hand side. That would also work for that. And so if I wanted it to go in the middle, it happens for that, and this takes everything, and this only gives just the line of that. So yeah, and this just darkens everything. But it's just to show you very, very simply the things that you can do with your borders. So that's done. I want to show you guys how to delete a cell. Let me start by deleting a cell. So let's say I want to delete this. I want to delete B5. I would either I can go to format, oh sorry, into insert. No, sorry, I want to delete. I don't want to insert. You right click. I would right click it, and it says delete row, which I don't want to do. Delete column, which I don't want to do. What I want to do is to delete a cell. That's what I want to do. I don't want to delete a column. So if I select delete a cell, it asks me whether I want to delete the cell and shift the entire structure left, or I want to delete the cell and shift the entire structure up. I'm going to do both, one after the other, so that you see what I mean. So let's say I select this, and this is what happened. It shifted it, leaving this bit open. So that's Ctrl Z to go back right up, and now I want to shift it up. Let's see what happens. It goes up and leaves that there for me. So that is some of the ways you could do that. I can decide I want to delete a column, and right click and delete row. Now the reason why it's telling me delete row here is because I selected the entire row 2. However, if I selected, let's use for example, I just selected 2 rows, that's A2 and B2, I can click on that and it tells me, asks me whether I want to delete the entire row, or whether what the row that I'm interested in is the row that is between A and B. So let's say I want to, take everything out, and then it goes, oh sorry, I meant to delete a cell here, not that. Okay, so I want to delete a row, right? I want to delete this row, and delete row, or it could tell me delete. If I select delete row, sorry, it's just going to take off only row 2, which was everything that was in row 2. Or if I tell it to delete column C and A to C, hold on, I want to select these 2 rows, right? And I tell it delete column B, A to B, is going to remove everything that is in A to B, and what I then have is the C shifted and became A. Let me put things inside it so that you understand. Let's say color, let's say this is green, this is yellow, this is lime, lemon. I want to use an example so that you see what I mean. This is pink, and let's call this red, blue, indigo, and purple. And let's call this black, brown, teal, peach. See, I've kind of put names on it so that you notice when something is going off. So I have delete. I want to delete everything in row 2. Right click, delete row. Everything in row 2 is gone. So everything that was there is all gone. So I want to go back in here. I want to delete column C. I would select column C, right click, and delete column. Everything in it is gone. Ctrl Z is to undo. So now let's say I want to delete these 2, yellow and red, but I want to delete everything that is in A and B. But instead of selecting it this way, I decide just to select 2 cells. And it asks me, do I want to remove it as in row? If I select row, it's going to take off all of row 2. If I select column, it's going to take off column A and B. If I say cell, is only going to focus on the cells. So now let's do row first. Everything in row 2 is gone, and if I select it as column A and B, everything in there is gone. And if I ask it to delete cells instead, it's, you know, I have an option of either shifting it up, or I can shift left or shift up, you know, either way. So those are some of the ways you can delete. So now, how do you insert? Works in a very similar way. Let's say I want to insert a cell here between B3 and I can right click. I can ask it I want a cell, or I can tell it I want a column, or I can tell it I want a row. So let's say I want a row. So it creates an entire row where there wasn't Control Z. I use Control Z to undo whatever it is that I am doing. And I want to insert column left, and that's a whole new column that it has created. Control Z. I want to insert cells. I can either do shift right, whereby everything moves to the right. Control Z, sorry, or I ask it to shift down and everything moves down. So just basically use the same function. You can also go here and insert to do inserting cells, inserting rows. You can insert rows above or below. You can insert columns left or right. So those are the different things that you could do with that. So lastly, we're going to do merging cells. You may want to merge a cell. Let's say I'm trying to think of something. Let's say I want to, you know, merge all of these cells into one and call it the colors of the rainbow, right? I want to use this to kind of highlight that everything in the table below is colors of the rainbow. I have to select the cells and go here that says merge cells and click that, and it's merged. And I can change that. I can either highlight it, double click, highlight it, or I'll just, you know, go here and put it colors of the rainbow. Colors of the rainbow. So that is that. I want to remove these colors because they're very, very unattractive. All right, all the colors are gone. So you can see it's merged in a way that these ones are not merged. A couple of things you could do with that is you could move your text, the text itself, to move it to the middle, and it goes up to the middle, or you can move it to the top and it goes to the top, or the way that it was at the bottom. I prefer to use middle. You can also align, whether you want to align left, align right, or align center. And you can also text wrap. Let me give you an example of let me look for an example of text wrap to do, so that you see what I mean by text wrap. Just a minute. I want to get a text that is very long. Okay, so I've copied the text from online and I want to paste it here, and I just paste it and done. So now you can see that this text here is, everything is inside it. It doesn't show the entire sentence. And the sentence is a whole lot longer than if you take it out. Now, if I want all the sentences to be in the same place, all I have to do is to use the text wrap. So I use a text wrap and everything is all fitted into the cell, the merged cell, and this way you don't have to go in. It becomes very easy to read in terms of that. You can change the size just the same way. You can change the style as well. You can do so many things with that. So yeah, this video has run on a little longer than I intended, but this is just a very basic functions of how Google Sheets is. I'm going to do a much shorter video with Excel.